All right, Jack is back.
Hey.
He's back. Thank goodness, because last week,
Back
Jack,
in the lab.
I had to do that last 10, 15 minutes alone, and it wasn't hard, but not the same.
Did you kind of just feel like you were insane, like talking to yourself?
A little bit. I feel
Could you do a full podcast by yourself if you had to?
If I had to, yes. Would I want to do it? No.
Yeah.
The very first pod I ever did was by myself, and it was that one was a brutal one. If you listen to that thing, shout out to you, because the audio was bad. I was kind of just slugging through it, but we did it. I mean, this is what you had to do.
I appreciate you picking up the slack.
No problem.
Cheat them, respect. Good burn there. That's fair. I asked for it.
You did.
Good job, cheat him. That's why I poke fun at a guy like Chris, because I know he's going to swing back and not just, if he just fell over, I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
But I want him to swing back.
I should apologize, because I kind of...
Pun intended.
My delivery was pretty weak on that joke, I'll be honest. I didn't deliver it as good as you would have. The way I had it typed in my notes wasn't right. And I was trying to make it up on the fly then, and it didn't come off great, but it still played with a reaction.
We'll call a spade. You didn't deliver it how I thought about it in my mind, but that's fine.
Wasn't delivered well.
That's my fault for not showing up and delivering it
Well,
myself.
I can take accountability, though, and say I got to be better.
That's okay.
Got to be better.
That's okay.
But good episode today. We got Bennett and Heath joining us for a little while, and then we talk about fuzzy numbers, of course, Waffle House updates. We continue to ramble about the physical toll that may take on one of us here, and some big matchups on the horizon for sure for the Waffle House thing. So good pod. Stick around to the end if you want to hear about Michigan driving and how unsafe it is. And this is the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. We got Jack back from his vacation. Good to have you back. I was lonely in here last week, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys getting the job done without me here.
It's tough, though.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen back to the podcast yet, but I heard it was a great week. So
It was a lot of fun, well received, but we'll catch up in a minute. We do have a guest on the line who I want to get to right now, soon to be two guests. Mr. Casey Bennett's having some technical difficulties at the moment, but we got Jonah Heath on the air. Jonah, thank you for joining us from your vehicle, it looks like.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad to be back and, sitting in the parking lot of softball right now. So
yeah, it's for those of you that don't know, the OG D-back, so Jimmy Norp, Jonah Heath, Shima, there's probably more, playing a softball league the same night and time we record this podcast. So it's tough to get those guys on. But Jonah's like, I'll call in from the car while I'm waiting to start the game. So appreciate it, Jonah. And I got to say, it was a great series between you and the Cobras. It was a sweep, but every game was close, and you stepped up in some big moments and hit some bombs. And what is it about Slate 4 Heath that just seems to be a different breed of guy?
Tom, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I guess I'm starting to figure out that I'm a second half guy. I wish I could figure out why that is, but, I'll take it. I guess, I'm happy to come up big when it's needed. So,
yeah, it was a pleasure to see.
You always want to start fast, but it is always great to finish strong, right? It's always important how you finish. I guess asking for a friend. You mentioned some of in your post game interview some things that you kind of changed up in your swing to get to the ball a little bit better. I don't know if you would care to elaborate a little bit on how, if someone out there is maybe struggling to contact the ball, some things that they could maybe change up to do a little bit better job of that.
Well, I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but I think you'll tell in the video, so it's no secret. But, I feel like I was late. I was behind on everything for the first half of the season. So I finally, I took that step right out of my stance. So I widened up a little bit. I just shift my weight, and it kind of gets me ahead of the ball now. So I'm kind of ready, a half second earlier, which is just enough to catch up to the ball, and it's been helping me a ton.
Yeah, love to see it. As a couple players struggling, it's good to see someone rebound a little bit.
It is.
And I mean, yeah, you had a rocky start. Jonah, you and I, we were joking about how bad we played in Miami, but for the most part, even this year you've had moments, but you've been playing in this league for what now, 5 seasons or so?
It's my 5th year, yep.
I feel like you've been pretty consistent. I know there's been some times where you've been better than others, sometimes you've been worse than others, but you've been a guy who's been, I'd say, kind of Mr. Consistent in that D-backs lineup. a big reason why you guys won those championships in 2021 and 2022. So what do you think has contributed into your consistency in this league, which is always evolving, always adding more talent? What's been some of your sauce there?
I think keeping consistency in the league is keeping consistency out of the league. So, might only play every couple weeks or something. So staying consistent in between there, I think is a big key to performing well when we do play.
And is there as big of a emphasis on defense in practice in Norp's camp as he makes it out to sound like, and what it appears like on video?
There's a definitely a big emphasis on defense. I'm sure you've heard Jimmy say it 1,000 times. You've heard everybody say it probably, but defense does win championships. So, being able to shut guys down and, when they're putting the ball in play, being able to still keep them off the base pass is huge. So just priding ourselves in defense, priding myself too, especially if I can't always contribute like with the bat. I'm sure happy to be able to at least be a little safety net over at first base there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awesome that you guys, Jimmy's obviously commented over the years about the emphasis that he puts on just practice in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy for a lot of, what in whatever recreational sport you might play, like, yeah, I practice, but I think practicing anything is all about the intentions that you have when you're practicing. So could you give us just like a quick rundown of like what a typical D-backs practice looks like?
I mean, it's nothing too crazy. We'll get out there, especially with Bennett around here. I'm sure before I can even get my cleats on, he's already sitting there just chucking the ball. So, I mean, just letting the pitchers get their work in, and then we'll slowly just step in the box and it's nothing crazy. It's just throwing at each other, but just being able to see different pitches, different pitchers, seeing it from different slots, and just get my eyes moving, the bat working, just I think helps just, broaden my range of what I see and what I can start to hit.
Sweet. I mean, yeah, I'll speak from firsthand. It does help for sure.
Yeah.
And Jimmy has put such a big emphasis on that, and it definitely shows. I think we got Bennett now, Jack. Bennett, are you there finally?
I think so.
Oh
boy. With an echo, he's here.
Echo? Ooh, hold on.
Bennett, give us a 1-2 test.
Give us an ow now brown cow,
yes.
Bennett.
Ow now brown cow.
Sound great.
I think we're live.
All right, great.
And we're live.
Bennett just had a one-of-one Zoom glitch to start this thing. I've never seen someone just have a grayed out image in Zoom with just not black, not. It was just like.
What was the fix, Bennett? Was it the hard reboot? Just restart?
This isn't my Mac camera. This is my iPhone
different
camera.
Device.
Got it.
Different device. Used, I don't know how this is happening.
Threw the Mac in the trash.
Yeah. Well, props to you for being quick on the fly here and making something work. But thank you for joining us. This was actually a Bennett request, Jack. He said, me and Jonesy got to get on the pod.
I love it.
He's like, we played great. And I love it. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
They both did play pretty
Thanks,
good.
Benny.
Yeah, he gave you some props there, Jonah. But Bennett goes out there, grinds away some ABs, hits a bomb, I believe, gets his first career dub. I mean, this was a banner day for old Benny. What was working out there for you, young man?
Practice, as Jonas said, is a legacy Benny series. You know what, Tom? One of the last times I was on, I think it might have been the last time I was on, you sent me on a villain arc by saying your silly little comment about what's the biggest rivalry in sports? Benny and the board.
Oh,
no.
Benny and the board. I told you, Bennett, my bullying Bennett era is done.
It's over.
It got too mainstream. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Now I'm in Bennett's corner. So our beef is dead.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
I will say, though, Bennett, I mean, if there's one team that has been hot at the plate all year, it's been the Cobras. For a guy who hasn't pitched a ton in this league, for you to come in and pitch a shutout is pretty remarkable. So I guess first question, how much did you pay Jimmy to start in game 3? And then second question, how did you manage to work around this Cobras lineup?
Well, first of all, Jimmy and Jonah, whenever they need to make like a team decision, go off to the side, just the two of them, and talk it out. This time they called over me, and Jim asked how I was feeling about pitching, and I said, I mean, I'm always ready, but what's wrong with you? He said he thought they saw him a little too well in game one, so I was just ready to go. Next man up mentality.
That.
As for the Cobras lineup, they didn't have Drew, which makes it a little easier to get through without him in the lineup. But I mean, the rest of them are still pretty decent hitters. Esh was really good that day, so he was a little spooky in that lineup. Luckily, I got the better of him a few times. Honestly, just throwing strikes, establishing the strike zone early, getting a lot of swings and misses. Like I think a lot of the clips from the last pitch of the at-bats were swings and misses on pitches out of the zone.
They were.
And I mean, you just got to credit that to establishing that you're throwing strikes early and you get chases that way easier. So,
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Bennett, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The fact that you didn't know you were throwing that day against, like Jack said, arguably one of the more like top to bottom productive lineups in MLW this year so far, shockingly. To go out there, like you said, and pitch a shutout is pretty cool. And again, like depth is becoming more and more important in MLW. And I talked about how, like in the past, in the playoffs, like I haven't really had confidence in the rest of my bullpen to be like, yeah, get in there. Like they're seeing Robles well.
Yeah.
So the fact that Jimmy was able to be like Bennett, my number 3 or whatever, 3, 4, whatever you want to call him, like they're seeing me pretty good. Trey didn't have his best stuff. Like let's put him out there. And I mean, that's pretty, and he threw a shutout. Like that's pretty cool.
I had this thought like right after watching the video and just watching how Bennett pitched. I don't know what Carter can do, but it's like I think everybody on the Diamondbacks could pitch an inning, like at least a serviceable inning if they had to.
Yeah,
like the Diamondbacks could go a game where they just pitch a different pitcher every inning, like 1, 2, 3. They could. I mean, they have enough guys to do it. We know Pishka can pitch. We haven't really seen him. I don't know if he's pitched yet in MLW, but I know he can.
I think he's got at least an inning under his belt. Might not be more than that.
Okay, but he could probably step in there and manufacture something if he had to.
I mean, yeah, most teams in MLW, I'll do a little for your video people. You can see this, but audio people, I'll describe it in a second. Most teams, I feel like the skill gap in pitching, like you're kind of here with your 1-2, and then it's like big dip, and then it kind of flatlines at the bottom. Whereas the D-backs is more of like a gradual slope down, you know. So it's the depth is there, but again, there's one thing to have depth like on paper on my team. Let's for example, I have Robles, who's like my ace, Cole my number 2, and then it's like Davenport and Carlington both can throw. But would I take off Colm or Robles off the mound, or even Jorgensen, to like let one of them go in a big game? It's tough to say.
But that's kind of what I'm saying, I guess, is different with the Diamondbacks. I mean, even if you take Pishka out of it, Jonah hasn't pitched much this year at all, but he has in the playoffs when games have been on the line. And you just had, I guess, your number 3 arm pitch a shutout against one of the hottest teams in the league. So the pitching depth across the board, I think, is what's definitely separating the Diamondbacks, not to mention their offensive support.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you, too. We kind of touched on this, too. But, yeah, the Cobras team this year has been kind of the shock of the season a little bit, in a good way. You know, the record really doesn't reflect that, but they played you guys so tough in all 3 of those games. Really, it could have, of course, you guys earned those wins, and good teams find ways to win, but that series could have very easily been a 2-1 Cobras series win, you know what I mean? As to how close it was. So compared to like watching videos or hearing about the games they've played in versus actually playing against them, like how good really is this Cobras team? If they find a way to weasel their way into the playoffs, what makes this team dangerous and what surprised you?
I think in a different way, but same thing as us, I think they're just kind of gritty. They just find ways. You know, same thing with us. I think every series, sometimes they just have a different guy show up, different guy stand out and like help them win. But I feel like we were just able to kind of shut all of them down for once, and that's why we got the sweep.
Benny?
I'll add on to that. I think Caden and Barron have both been around the game a long time. Well, they might not be like the stat leaders on the mound in the league. They know how to get outs. They know how to make pitches. Caden's pitched really well this year. Yeah, I'd say their pitching has been really good. Their offense gets the job done, kind of like us in a weird way.
What about Ash specifically? Because I feel like that kid like didn't record a strikeout. You were talking about to win the game. I'll give you your flowers, Bennett. But every at bat he was putting the ball in play and hitting it hard somewhere.
Yeah.
How good were his at bats like all the way through?
Yeah, every time he was up to the dish, I was kind of like ready. You're absolutely right, Tom. Like every at bat was long. He was never an easy out. I mean, I didn't pitch, but just watching it.
He's a college ball player, I think. So I mean, we sometimes I think we don't see guys transfer from baseball to wiffle ball very well, but I think he's done pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely. It was like it didn't take long for it to click for him, and I think we gotta obviously give Drew some credit here. His offseason moves, were contentious for sure, to say the least. And Esh was one of the picks that he ended up with, and seems to be, pun intended, a home run right now. I mean, he seems to be a very positive bat for a lineup that's already, they got plenty of bats. So I think we do need to give Drew a little bit of credit there.
We do, and I don't really even know how those two crossed paths, to be honest.
I'm not sure.
I know the story, but not to what extent. Ash and him met at a Wiffle in the Mitten, I think, like 2 years ago or so, maybe last summer. And I don't know what Drew saw, but he liked it. And I know, again, we kind of put together a draft board, not only amongst guys that we like, but Kyle will give names too from what he's seen at the tournaments because he's everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
And no offense to Ash, but I don't think Ash was really on that list from Kyle. It was like Drew saying, I want this guy.
Yeah.
And Kyle's like, are you sure? I don't know a lot about him. He's been to one tournament. Baseball players haven't always translated well. And Drew's
in typical Drew fashion, he's not going to pick someone.
And Drew's
on the list.
That's my guy.
Yep.
So they had no real established relationship or friendship. His reliability, I had no idea on, but he must have given his word to Drew, and Drew took that word literally.
Yeah.
And the fact that he got a guy swinging the bat like that at number 6, who none of us really even knew, does not happen a lot in this league.
Great find.
I think
Great
the
value.
Pish, honestly, is a comparable.
I was
find.
about to say the same thing, Tom.
Yep. When you find those guys that late, it definitely feels good. So kudos to you, Drew.
Well, I want to hear Esh's sales pitch because I liked Pish's sales pitch. Remember, Pish was like, I'm 5 hours away and I'll make the drive. That was a cool line. I want to know what Justin said to get Drew over the edge to take him. So we'll have to ask him.
He probably just said, I hit bombs. And Drew was like, all right, you're in.
Hey, he's kind of right.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying.
Can I give some props and some fluff really quick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, please. We love fluff.
I don't know how
props.
much you talked about this already since I just came in, but there's flu game. Was it Michael Jordan?
Yep.
Masked LeBron, and then there's second half Jonesy.
We said it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
We talked about it a little bit. Yep.
I just wanted to get that in.
Bennett, do you have any explanation for it or what? I don't even have an explanation for it.
I don't know. Guy heats up in the second half.
Jack, we should do a draft in the off season of I don't know how you describe that, but adjective type players, in MLW, days, second half Jonah, or Cowboy Hat Drew. We should do a team like that, the best of the best. I don't know who else to compare it to, but
that would be fun.
I think maybe
backwards hat Baron.
Maybe backwards hat Baron. Maybe third inning, down by a lot of runs. Sean Flynn just hits bombs all the time. He does.
Like a really, really scuffed ball Sawyer when he can just locate his drop ball.
Scuffed ball Sawyer. 2 Red Bull Robles is pretty elite, I'd say. You got Philly Tom, of course. Cheesesteak Tom was pretty darn good.
That's pretty good.
So we have to do that in the offseason. That'd be funny, I think. We have to go through everybody.
That would be cool. I wanted to, Bennett, you mentioned the Cobras pitching. A little bit different staff now with Caden than what we saw last year out of the Cobras. The first game was really interesting. Barron, who's typically more of a drop ball heavy guy, at least from the pitches that you saw in the video, seemed like he was going to his riser a lot more against you guys. What were you, and Barron's had Cy Young type seasons in the past. I mean, when they made it to the World Series, he won one. And he's 0 for 4 this year, hasn't won a game. So what were you guys seeing out of Barron? What were you guys seeing out of Caden in this series?
Barron, I think frustration was building a little in game 1 because, honestly, Barron was throwing us 80% risers. And if our team, we should put up a bunch of runs on that, but we just weren't. That was one of the more frustrating offensive performances. And Jonah doesn't really show much emotion on the field ever, but he was fired up after that home run. And that was big for us. That let out a lot of frustration. I don't. We were chasing a lot. I mean, I think all my at bats, me chasing high risers pretty much.
It's disgusted just thinking about it.
I am.
No, Wiff ball's a frustrating game for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think we were a little bit antsy, and I think that's what caused some of the frustration.
Yeah.
We started swinging at bad pitches and whatnot. So I think, I don't know, finally like stepping back, taking a breath, and just being like, let's wait for our pitch and stuff. Started to help out there. But yeah, I don't know. I think you're right, Jack. He did look a little different than he has before. I couldn't tell you why, but I think it might have just worked in our favor a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Caden?
Go ahead, yeah.
I don't know many of his tendencies, honestly, but he looked good. He threw me a couple nasty knuckleballs.
The
Yeah,
knuckleball
it
was
was a
sick.
couple
He's
gross
got a
ones.
couple of those
He
now
has,
this
for
year.
sure.
Yeah, his stuff was working. I mean, honestly, I don't think he pitched bad at all. I think he just got a couple unfortunate pitches.
Yeah.
Benny?
I saw Caden well in game 2, not as much in game 3. I think it was 1-0. I know Caden mixes it up a lot. He's got a lot of good pitches. You always got to worry about that knuckleball that dances more than about anyone else in the league.
He's a good arm. He's crafty. He's not a super high movement guy, but he's crafty. He'll change speeds. He'll kind of invent things on the fly. He'll mess with grips and kind of change his arm slot just a little bit to where enough where it'll throw you off. So he's a good just plug guy who can get in there and give you quality innings no matter the weather, the score, where they're at in the standings, the ball. He's a no excuses, go out there and get it done guy, which is why I liked him.
I do agree with that. I would say just watching this series, it was very close. Like
So
you said,
close.
it was close, but just watching that game 1, not that you guys were showing a ton of emotion, but you could see that you guys were frustrated because a lot of those balls did seem like they were ones in your guys' wheelhouse. And you obviously ended up pulling out the win, but I guess just looking forward, that's the one thing I think with the Cobras that's holding them back is Barron hasn't really looked like Barron has in the past. And I guess the question is, if that's the case, can Caden really be kind of their number one arm that they lean on,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's always tough when you're kind of trying to figure that out in the middle of the season.
Right.
I'm
You like
curious.
to kind of know that going into the postseason.
I know, but I would want to get these guys' take on it too. And I play the Cobras in Slate 5, so I'll get a better feel for it. But let's say, the Cobras are 4-8 right now. The odds are stacked against them a little bit, but the Cats are within striking distance after getting swept.
They are.
But if the Cobras do find a way to get in, would you guys agree that they're no easy team to walk right over in a DS series, right?
No, not even close. I think that series could have easily been flipped. A couple plays here and there, a couple different pitches, and that series literally flipped. I don't think they're a walk in the park at all.
I think the AL is just going to come down to who can beat Ryan Cratch in one day. Who can overcome Ryan?
Maybe nobody can
Done it before.
in the AL. You have done it before, Jack.
Done it before.
You guys
Can be done.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Okay. Well, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you guys. I know, Jonah, you got a softball game here in a couple minutes, and Bennett, you got to get to something as well later this evening. But Bennett, this is your 3rd year playing for Jimmy. Jonah, this is your X amount of years, your whole childhood, really. But do you guys think that Jimmy's management style or how he's managed the guys has evolved at all over the years, or has Jim's game plan kind of been Jim's game plan ever since he first started as a manager in this league, and it's just been successful that entire time?
Yeah, I'm going to preface that he's sitting right behind me right now.
In the car?
So I'm only going to say
no?
good. Yeah,
Okay,
can
yeah.
you see him or no?
Probably, if I would
but-
stop talking.
But no, it's not going to change my. He's definitely evolved. Over time, having the same guys and then adding new guys, he's learned us more and more. He's learned guys in the league more and more, and he's just learned situational things a lot. And I think he's always learning every chance he gets. So he's definitely developed in the ways he can manage a game for sure.
He does it well, whatever he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I haven't been with him as much, but I honestly, in my time, it seems like he's kind of taken a step back and kind of relied on his team a little more. I mean, back when MLW was like a 3-man lineup, Jim was batting once an inning. He could pitch 2 games, and he could win a lot of games just on his own. But now I think he's got a more team-based approach to managing, in my opinion.
That's cool.
Makes sense.
And this is a question for Bennett. Jonah, if you got to run, we appreciate your time. I'm not kicking you off by any means, but I know you got somewhere to be.
I'll give you another minute or two.
Okay. But Benny, you moved to Michigan again this summer, second year in a row doing that, which is pretty special. So I just wanted to hear about your experience again, being here hanging out with a lot of the D-backs guys, being away from home. Just how was I know you've moved back since, but how was your summer this year?
My summer was great this year. Jonesy over here said I was mad all the time.
He's on the cut, so he's not getting enough, he's crabby.
He's
He doesn't have enough nutrients.
He's angry. I feel that, Bennett.
Hey, it ended. The cut's over. The cut's over.
Okay. Now
I'm back.
What'd you cut?
Season?
What'd you cut?
Oh, I started at 194 and I'm down to 165 now.
Woo!
Since January.
It's impressive.
Atta boy.
Way to go, Bennett. That is impressive.
Attaboy.
That takes a lot of dedication. I don't know if I would have, to be honest. Me and food don't. You guys know we have a history. Me and food go way back. So Bennett, shout out to you. That is pretty impressive. I believe you're home safely now.
In Columbia, Missouri.
You're back to school already?
Moved into the new apartment.
Sweet. How's the place?
Gonna have a fun semester. It's real nice.
Real nice.
It's real nice.
We're gonna have some fun.
Really
Jonesy's
nice.
got to come visit me.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see about that, Ben.
Can I say one more thing about the D-backs as a team?
You sure can.
Yeah, you can.
Go, Bennett. Go.
I want to I think this is for me, Tish and Jonah especially. We probably haven't been performing as well in the box as we wanted to all year, putting a lot of pressure on Jim and Trey all the time. But this team just finds a way to get the job done every time. We're scrappy. I love these boys, and I miss them.
You miss them.
I miss them all.
Do they miss?
We miss you,
Jonah,
Bennett.
do you miss Bennett? Yeah.
I miss you, Benny.
Did he pay you to say that?
I feel like every time we have Bennett on, he just comes on. He's like, "We're scrappy, and I love this team."
This team finds a
All he
way.
says.
They do
He
find
just
a
says he
way.
loves the team every time.
I-
I know
I do.
what Bennett's going to miss the most is our Tuesday night $5 movies.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that's romantic.
Good deal.
That is good. I'm a sucker for a bargain, so I probably would be right there with you if I lived in that area.
Can't beat it.
Well,
Cannot beat it.
Bennett, I got to ask the hard questions here. We keep it real. So, back in Missouri, is there plans for you to be here for the postseason, or is that TBD?
We'll see how my September and end of August is pretty busy, so we'll see how schedules align.
Are you still doing some work for the school in terms of I don't know what I'd categorize that, videography or?
Yeah.
Sport?
Yeah, I just work on the athletic broadcast team,
Okay, that's so cool.
doing camera work and
Bennett
stuff.
films like soccer games and baseball games and softball games. Pretty
It's
cool.
awesome.
SEC Network.
Are you going to be in the booth at all, ever, or only behind the camera?
We're going to get in the booth for a local radio station calling some of the Mizzou games of different sports.
That's sweet.
Right on.
Can that be
That's
streamed
awesome.
by anybody or no?
If you got Sirius XM or something, I'm sure you could find it.
Okay. Well, send us some links.
It's out
Bennett.
there. We'll find
We'd
it.
be
I'd have
happy to
to
promote you on the Pipe It Up Instagram if you got links.
Good.
Got to tune in.
Build my
Bennett.
brand.
Yeah, you got to build. I'll help you build. I'll help you get running, Bennett, or start walking at least. But all right, gentlemen. Well, good luck to you, Jonah, in softball tonight. Bennett, good luck with whatever you got
Thanks,
going
Tom.
on. And
I'm actually going to a meeting for that station right now.
for work.
Oh,
okay,
right
cool.
on.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, and I hope I see you fellas in the postseason. And maybe you won't be in such a good mood after we play you, hopefully. But you guys are a tough opponent.
Aw.
You're a tough opponent.
Ugh.
I'm not going to say you're not. It's a tall task. We definitely come in as the underdogs as of right now. So I look forward to the opportunity, in the words of J.J. McCarthy, prior to getting injured.
Oh man,
Ugh.
too soon.
Too soon? Nah,
Nah.
we're Lions fans. Not
Yeah.
too soon. All right, boys. Appreciate it. Go White. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Tom, Swag, thanks for having me.
Double
Always a
salute.
Thanks for having me as well.
Double salute.
I love
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Jonah.
We will see you fellas soon.
See you soon.
Say it back. I love you.
I love you, Benny.
I love this team.
All right. Thank you to the D-backs group. Always a goofy group. I don't know how much PB included, but Jimmy and Carlington were video bombing throughout those interviews. But always a pleasure.
That'll be
having
good
those
footage.
guys on. Yeah, absolutely. Good footage for the archive, nonetheless. Comment of the week.
Yeah.
Jack, we have another Soldier Pipe It Up Pod Squad commenter at the top of the comment section this week.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And it's a big account, Big League Wiffle Ball. Shout out to you guys. I think they play out in Arizona. Big League, pretty good following. And he said, forget the 24-hour challenge. Jack and Tom should have to eat a waffle for every time Kyle says the word shot.
That's a good challenge. That's a lot of waffles.
That might be more waffles than
that is a
the
lot of
24-hour
waffles.
waffle challenge.
That is a lot of waffles. We need someone to go back and just do a shot counter for the last series and just see how many waffles we would have had to eat. We did that challenge.
We need to do that combined for sure.
You think?
I mean, I think he says it a lot.
You think he says shot more than 20 times a series? 20 times a series?
I'd say we're getting shot at least 4 times a game.
Maybe that should be in our Waffle House bet.
Tiebreaker.
That could be a tiebreaker.
Should have been for Slate 5.
Over under for shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, we didn't do that for Slate 5, but
we didn't
probably should have been.
That would have been.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next year we'll do that.
Maybe next year.
Next year we're not doing waffles though.
No, we'll do something else.
But you watch, this is going to go so well that in the worst way that they're going to want us to do it again.
We'll do something better.
Yeah.
We'll do something. You can't just do the same thing every year.
Better though is not fun. More fun for us. That's worse for us, Jack.
Well, you got to keep it fresh though. You got to keep it fresh.
I agree. I like to evolve.
You got to be fresh.
But thanks for the comment. Appreciate the pipe it up love in the main comment section. And yeah, the Waffle House is on the horizon. We'll talk about it when we get to the predictions for the next series. But thank you again to Big League Wiffle Ball for the comment. Let's jump now to everybody's favorite segment, Fuzzy Numbers, brought to you by our friends over at ShedBall. ShedBall is a professional mini hoop basketball league with a 9-inch rim, 4-inch foam ball, and an 8-foot rim height. They have players, GMs, and yes, real dollar contracts. ShedBall. It's funny because it's serious. They have the first 3 episodes of Season 1 on YouTube now, and for more information, head over to shedball.com. That is ShedBall.com. All right, Frank. Frank absolutely nailed last week.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how with that 10 strikeout Jimmy North thing in game 1.
That's a crazy prediction.
Really
that is a crazy
wild.
prediction.
It's a bit wild, but props to Frank and Tim for nailing that one. And let's kick it over to Fuzzy Frank now. What do you got for us this week?
Thanks, gentlemen. Fuzzy Numbers yet again. Fuzzy Frank is on fire. Absolute perfect prediction. Jimmy Norp with 10 strikeouts in a game and the series sweep by the D-backs. This week, he's got the Mallards and the Eagles, and he's going with the upset pick. He's picking Mallards 2-1 in the series. Asked him for a stat of the series, and he gave us Robles is going to pitch 7 innings and get 13 strikeouts across those innings. He's also going to hit a home run. Also, Jack, need to hear a little bit of your reaction from the 4-minute interview that Frank gave last week. Anyway, thanks, gentlemen. Back to you guys at Pipe It Up.
Frank, I was hoping you'd say a Coughlin bomb maybe, but, Robles bomb I'll take at least. But what did you think, Jack, of the extensive interview last week with Frank?
Unbelievable. Frank is he's witty. He's smart. He's got lovely hair from what we can tell.
Yeah.
I don't really blame him for trying to stay as this mysterious type figure. Mm-hmm. If I were him, the more I think about it, I probably wouldn't show my face either. I think it plays more if we don't know what he looks like. So I respect him. I respect his privacy. We hear you, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
We won't badger you anymore to see your face.
Okay.
I do the comments around the Waffle House challenge were on point and hilarious. I think I would probably regret everything leading up to that point after 12 waffles, which is why I really don't want to lose this thing. I really don't want to. It's not going to be fun. It's just not going to be fun either way.
I was recently conferring with some friends about the Waffle House thing because they weren't aware of it. They don't listen to the podcast, unfortunately. And I kind of said it while I was laughing and talking about it, and they're like, you're actually going to do that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, who's the bet between them? I'm like, just me and Jack. He goes, you guys agreed to that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, good luck, man. That's going to suck. And I was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's been just about every interaction I've had when I tell people about it too.
Yeah. Again, my stupid pea-sized brain is like, oh, it'd be fun. But I'm saying that I think it'd be fun from the first hour or two. And then once I stopped eating, then you look at the clock and you're just like, fun. Oh, no.
There's no part of it that's going to be fun.
Yeah, eating's fun when you don't have to do it. When you're required to do it, it's probably a lot less fun.
You might just have to go all in and butter them up.
It might be you, Jack.
No, it won't. Can't be me.
Well, let's go tailor fate on this week's Fuzzy Frank.
Yep.
So, guys, this kind of stinks because we don't have actual predictions because we screwed up, remember? So
Yes.
there's no points at stake this week. Last week, we both gained 2 points. We both had 2 D-backs, ended up being 3-0. So I'm still up by 1. So Frank going 2-1 Mallards. I like it. I think it is probably what I would have picked. I also think Robles is due for a bomb. I think he might even get 2 bombs. So I'm gonna tail that one hard. Mallards series, this will be a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I do think we're the underdogs here. The Eagles are one of the better teams. We've not been playing our best wiffle ball this year so far. So I think it'll require Robles to keep doing what he's doing, which is pitching unbelievably.
Yep.
And then probably a guy like me to step up and start hitting the ball. So we'll see.
I think I'm gonna fade Frank on this one. I'm gonna go 2-1 Eagles. I just think across the board, their depth and their hitting is probably going to be the difference. I like the prediction of going extras with Robles.
Okay. We do go extras a lot.
I do like that prediction. So I guess I'll tail the extras. The only thing I would say about that is I think if it goes to 7 innings, I think Robles will actually have more than 13 strikeouts.
I was going to say the same thing.
Because when in those games that go that far, it's like because the other team's literally not touching the ball, and then the Mallards can't score any runs.
Yeah, I think if Robles pitches a total of 7 innings in the day, you'd be looking at more like
18 probably.
I was going to say 18 too. Yeah, he strikes out almost everybody.
Yeah, he'll get a few. He'll get a few pop flies maybe, or he'll get a few just like ground outs, like routine plays. But it'll be majority strikeouts.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But Frank, what an effort from Frank last week. From the long interview to the prediction being 100% correct.
That was
couldn't have been much better.
It was spot on, and he even talked about. He even mentioned Heath and Bennett like picking up the slack. Like that was exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was
spot on.
A bit spooky how accurate that was.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It was awesome. Great job, Frank. Great job.
Great job, Frank. But the Waffle House bet is still looming here. Really, all eyes are, Jack, because this week doesn't really matter, but all eyes are on the Chicago series because we have different outcomes there.
Yeah, there's a lot of waffles on the line.
A lot at stake. This late in the game, like that could be the difference.
Could swing.
It could
swing a lot.
Yeah, it could.
It's worth a lot of syrup.
Yep. Worth a lot of butter.
A lot of butter.
Those are the calories you're
not thinking about. Are you going to go syrup?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I think it'd be so much worse to do it with dry. I don't care about the extra calories.
I mean, you might have to. Oh, dude.
No, I think just getting it down dry would be so much harder.
I think realistically, I'd probably go like 1 or 2, like just how I'd normally eat it, and then the rest, I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of strategy.
No, I think I'd just butter them up, syrup them up.
You're gonna be there all day, dude. All day.
I'm gonna rally I'm gonna get so much support from MLW guys that's gonna knock off my hours, and I'm gonna eat as many waffles as I can.
That's the one thing that's like keeping me somewhat uplifted about the fact that I lose is I do think I'm a somewhat decent salesman, and I can try to get some troops, gather some troops to come down and support.
I think we can both rally.
I think we could rally.
People don't totally hate us.
The thing is we kind of just glossed over this when we agreed to this challenge, but there isn't like a close Waffle House.
No,
we have to drive like an hour
south. Yeah,
we got to drive so that's the thing that's hard about recruiting people is they're like, it's not like down the road. It's like, you're going to have to drive depending on where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to need you to drive like 2 hours to come to this Waffle House to eat waffles with us.
Yeah. That's a tough selling point. I'd have to agree with you on that, but it is what it is, man.
It's for the brand.
Yeah. So we love the support of any MLW players. That's a problem for about a month or 2 from now. Jack, let's catch up. How was your vacation?
It was good.
You caught some flack. People were in the comments were like, God, Jack must have a lot of vacation days because you were in Hawaii. Remember before?
These were my 2 weeks.
Okay,
These were my 2 weeks of vacation, Hawaii, and went out to the west side of Michigan,
Beautiful
outside
place.
Ludington. Unbelievable. I was sending Tommy some pictures, some videos out by the gorgeous Lake Michigan. It's just so cool that like we only have to drive. I mean, it sounds far, but like relatively it's not far. Like you only have to drive 3.5 hours to get to a place like that. That's just so beautiful. So yeah, it was awesome. Did a little fishing, a lot of reading, just relaxing. Beach day. It was a good time.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. No, it was a fun.
Jealous.
It was. My vacation's over. So for all you guys that just think I only vacation, I have no more now. So I will be I will be around for the Pipe It Up podcast.
Not a vacation, Jack, but next week we do need to get creative with scheduling for me because I have my fantasy football draft like at this exact time.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a
I
problem.
was thinking about that.
I tried. I voted in the group chat and like I was like
how
the
do you
only
feel
person
about
who
doing
voted.
like a live draft on the pod?
Like
how
doing
serious
drafting.
is this? How
it's
serious?
my only league.
Oh, it's the only one you're
I'm
in.
playing.
Okay,
yeah.
so you got to be.
I wouldn't be.
You got to be locked.
Yeah,
in.
I got to be dialed.
You got to be
I gotta
dialed. You got to be dialed. Yeah.
I wouldn't have given you the runaround if I was in like 5 leagues. I'm a 1 league guy.
I just thought it would be. Yeah, no, you can't.
It
would be fun if we were like live.
Yeah.
Breaking down the draft, but I guess there's probably a lot of people who maybe don't play fantasy football.
Which I think you should, even if you don't love the NFL, it'll give you a reason to care about it, and it's just like something to talk about at work on Monday or with your classmates. I think it's
super fun.
It's a good current
fun
thing to be involved with.
Probably takes up too much of my time, but it's still fun.
So that's why I won league.
Yeah.
And I can root for. I hate the people that are rooting for like 7 different guys playing against themselves. I'm like, I just got my guys.
I was that
league.
guy. We've probably talked about this, but
Yeah.
I was that guy at one point. Just whittling down to, I'm only in like maybe 2 leagues now, maybe 3. But there were times where I was
Maybe
probably
4.
in like 6.
Yeah, that's too
7.
much. You're like a full time.
Like-
It's like a full time job.
Yeah, it's like way too much time.
6 drafts.
Yeah,
It's like you could do that every night for 6 nights in a row.
yeah. You get
Your whole evening.
and then it's like you don't even know who to root for because
That's what I'm saying.
you've drafted every player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's silly, in my opinion, but plenty of people do it and still somehow find joy in it.
they do. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about that. Supposed to get creative with the pod scheduling next week. Any whiffs, any high moments,
I had a
vacay or non-vacay?
This was a whiff I had, family reunion recently. This wasn't actually this week, but I'm going to do it anyway because I missed it the week that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. My cousins from Canada, Germany, all came to Michigan to celebrate. My grandfather turned 90 this year.
Wow, congrats. Round of applause for
Opa. Round of applause for Opa. It was an awesome event. My whiff was one of my two of my German cousins are actually twins. They're somewhat popular they're popular on the internet. They make music.
Cool.
They were on the Voice, like the Germany Voice, the Germany
That's so
Voice,
cool.
not the US
Yeah,
one, but
still,
like the Germany
that's awesome.
version. So yeah, check them out. I think they're like handles the King Twins. That's their last name, King. So they just go King Twins.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I know they look a lot alike. Okay, they're twins. They're
Identical
fraternal.
twins.
Is it?
Identical.
They're identical.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like, when I see them together, I know which one is which.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only one of them there. So the other one couldn't make it. And I'm like, in my head, like, I was told who was coming and who wasn't coming.
tough.
So I was like, I'm not going to mess this up. And then I got and like said hi to them and literally just called them the other name. And then he's like, no, actually and I was like, you're serious. Like, I can't believe I just messed that up. I mean, I've had so many conversations with him, like we've done this family reunion like multiple times. So I've spent plenty of time with him to like know his name, and I do know his name.
Maybe
it was just such a whiff. Like, it's like the problem is their names in my brain don't make sense because I'll just use their names because it's going to be easier to explain, but
they're famous.
Their names are Lucas and Clemens.
Okay.
And in my mind, when I see their faces, Clemens looks more like a Lucas and Lucas looks more like a Clemens. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but like when I see their faces, like their names should be switched in my mind, and they're not. But it was just such a whiff. You always feel bad when you like call someone the wrong name. Even if you don't know them that much, and he's literally like my cousin and I got his name wrong.
But he's a twin. I mean,
I know, but still,
and you don't see
it's
him
like
all the time. You see him
I
once
see
a
him
year.
enough, and I've seen him enough to like know his name. So that was a whiff.
That's a whiff.
It was embarrassing. I felt bad.
I don't know if I've had any major whiffs lately. Like nothing that I whiff every day. Obviously.
I'm sorry, Clemens.
Everyone, sorry, Clemens. I apologize on Jack's behalf. I whiff every day, but like a major whiff, I can't really think of anything right now. I did have a random story I was going to tell. I'll tell it, I guess. It's not even really a story. It's more of an observation on the world. When did this country, Jack, lose grip of the speed limit? You know,
I don't know if that's this country. I think that's
the world.
That's Michigan.
Michigan
Drivers are insane.
I just think that it's pretty cut and dry. You know, laws are laws, right? And it's called a speed limit, not a speed like average speed range.
Yeah.
Limit means as high as you can go.
I'm telling you.
So why is there this like unwritten rule that like on the freeway we're all going to go 10 to 15 over and you just drive by cops and nobody cares?
I'm telling you.
Where do we draw the line?
I'm telling you it's a Michigan thing. When I would drive on the freeway at school in Rhode Island, it was not like that. There's the occasional person that's going, 10 over.
But that's like they're flying?
They're going fast. It's not like that. I don't know if it's that there's more police out there or like the tickets are worse. I never got a ticket out there for speeding, so I don't know.
What I'm saying here is like police, again, the speed limit. It's just me making a funny observation, I guess, but it's like
they won't pull you over.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can, 10 over is like, they're
probably
going
won't
as fast as you can.
Right.
Like, that's not the limit. The limit's 70. Why are we all going 80?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of just like it's almost like a group. It's like a group
really
thing where it's like,
really
hey, if we're all going 10 over, like they can't pull us all over.
Exactly. It's a problem.
Yeah, no, it is a problem. It's definitely a problem.
But I just thought of that going to work today because it was really early. I was on the road at like 5:40. And I was going down I-75, like right through Detroit, and people were going at 90 in the left lane. And I'm like, where do we draw the line here?
Oh, yeah. No, it's to the point where if you're driving the actual speed limit, you're like, it's a problem. It's a problem. You might get hurt. You're like not moving with the flow of traffic anymore.
I'm just trying to think if any other laws are just like blatantly broken in front of officers ever. Besides that, like it's.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably different everywhere.
Dry law. Like I said, it's
probably cultural things. You know, in different. Yeah,
it just doesn't really exist.
Different places, they'll. I think it depends on the area. Like, if you get caught going like 10 over.
In like
a 25 and it's like a school zone, like it's a problem.
I'd say like 25 is like a 5 over, like going 30 is cool. And a 35 going like 42 is cool. And a 55 going 65 is cool. And a 70 going 85 is cool. It's like, where do we draw the line, guys?
Yeah, no, that's
Why
so
don't we
true.
just like actually make the speed limits different or just like actually start holding people accountable?
I mean, there's places in Michigan you don't have to drive very far where it just turns to 75.
75 is
and
the
then
limit.
People are
90.
straight up driving 95 miles an hour.
That's like okay. That's like okay.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It was just a silly observation that I had this morning when I was very tired. I'm like seeing all the speed limit signs and people in the slow lane are not going the speed limit. And I'm like, when did this country lose
They
should
just make it like the Autobahn in Germany and just take the speed
limit. That's
off.
basically what the highways in Metro Detroit are. Which is very dangerous. But
yeah. Especially when there's construction everywhere.
Driving on that's another problem. But driving on the Autobahn is a pretty weird experience, I must say.
Guys, give us your is anyone else's state just one big construction zone in the summer?
No.
Because that is Michigan to a T.
It's so bad.
I mean, it took me probably 25 minutes longer than it should have to get here today, solely just because of construction.
No lanes open.
There's no other way for me to go. I mean, I could take other roads.
They also have construction.
But they also have construction. So yeah.
It's so bad. And also like around where in Southeast Michigan here, it's like this is year 3, I think, on the project on 96.
Oh, unbelievable. I won't even take it anymore.
Bad.
I don't even.
I'm sure others.
I avoid it at all costs.
I'm sure
I haven't been on it in 3 years, probably.
Yeah. I'm sure other states have their own downfalls. Again, the west side of the state, northern Michigan, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful state. I do like this state for the most part, but the Michigan roads are a problem. They're dangerous. They are under construction 24/7. Roads are closed all the time. Potholes, you name it. Like aggressive drivers, it's a problem in this state.
Yeah.
And that's definitely Michigan's Achilles heel, I'd say, is the driving situation.
You know, another weird thing in Rhode Island that people do is, so if you're at an intersection, right, and you've got, 4-way intersection with a light, not a stop sign, but with a light. If it's green and you're going straight, right, and the lane across from you, right, there's a left turn lane.
Mm-hmm.
So the person going straight has the right of way.
Yep.
Right? Not in Rhode Island. In Rhode Island, they literally, if you're like the first person that's turning left, like they get I don't think it's legal.
Just one car?
Yeah. Like
or everybody?
No, like just the one car.
That's
like, I don't think this is legally correct, but I'm telling you, this is how everybody drives.
This was again, like, they can't pull us all over, so let's just start doing this.
No, it's like it's like a cultural thing. Like, I would literally, if I was the first car turning left, I would be waiting for the person to drive straight so then I could turn left, and they're flashing me to turn, like, before them. It makes no sense. And I don't think that's the law there.
It's not illegal, yeah.
No, it's not illegal.
Weird.
It's just like, why are we doing this? It's so confusing.
Yeah, that is odd. I wonder if other states have weird stuff too, and I don't even know about it. I never heard anything like that before.
I bet you there are. I bet you there's more than you probably think. But the first time it happened to me, I was like, what is this person doing? Like, I almost hit him. And then it happened.
Yeah,
like,
I would just
it
go.
kept happening. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then eventually, it got to the point where people are like waving you and like telling you to go. And then you just start doing it. You're like, all right, cool. I guess we're just doing this.
Yeah.
You get excited to be the person turning left because you're like, I'm just going to rip right in front of you.
Because usually that sucks when you're sitting, you're like, it's a long line to turn left and you're already in the back. You finally get to the front, light turns red again.
I honestly think that's
all the traffic there.
I think that's like how it started. It's like a courtesy thing. They're like, it sucks. You're trying to turn left right now. Like, we'll just let you go. We'll let the first car go.
Yeah,
and then we'll go.
Yeah. And then no one else is getting by.
No.
There's plenty of stuff like that, I'm sure. But yeah, that's something I noticed I thought would be funny to talk about in the podcast was the speed limit thing because the state of Michigan has lost that law totally.
Yeah, it's gone.
Cops just let you go.
It's gone.
Unless you're going 100, like it's.
Yeah, you got to really.
I'd say so. Michigan speed limits in the freeways are mostly 70, in rural areas 75. But in those 70 areas, I think people drive 85, and cops don't bat an eye.
But there's some places like around Detroit, like 94 and like 75 outside of Detroit that are actually like 55 and people will drive 80.
Yeah.
People will drive 80 or 85.
Like it's normal.
It's like they're like, oh, I didn't see the sign. Like we're on the highway. And like you're trying to drive
that person.
You're trying to drive 60 miles an hour and there's people literally like getting mad at you. Like it's crazy.
Unless you want to, again, like if someone's not paying attention, you're driving and weaving. If you're going the speed limit 55, you will get rear-ended.
Yes.
Like it's dangerous to everybody else who's treating it like a 70 mile per hour road, which is actually an 85 mile per hour road in the state of Michigan. We're not exaggerating whatsoever.
No,
you guys
we're
have
not.
ever been here, you know
we're
what I'm
not.
talking about. But
we're not.
Anyways, guys, this week is Mallards, Eagles, hard right turn there, pun intended.
Yeah.
Mallards, Eagles, nice. Big tilt in the
good
NL.
Puns.
Big tilt in the NL. Me versus Dirty Dan's always a good one. I always like playing Dallas as well. And the Eagles have been historically pretty good against us, so we got our work cut out for us. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
Just a classy matchup.
It is real classy. Battle of the Birds in the NL. Doesn't get much better.
What was the Jersey matchup? Let's give the podcast listeners a little inside scoop.
Black on white. Mallards black, Eagles white.
Love that.
Yeah, I believe that was what it was. Unless they were.
Side note, I was very confused with the Jersey matchup in the Cobras Diamondbacks series. I'm going to be honest.
We had black versus
Kyle. If you've made it this far in the podcast,
what was it? I forget.
I don't know what you were thinking. It was the D-backs like cream, and then the Cobras white, and it just looked like they were both white.
You know, I wonder. It honestly might not even been Kyle's fault. That could have been a player
mistake.
thing. Yeah, it could have been a player.
Might have been a mistake. I don't know. I thought it would have been better if the Cobras wore their like the
Moxie,
the blue, the powder blue, like red Moxie one.
I'm guessing that was a mistake, but that was an electric series. I'll be honest. Like
it was.
Obviously, I knew the outcome before I watched it, but it had the edge of my seat for sure.
No, great series.
A lot of big home runs.
Great video. Great series.
Yeah, it was a fun one to watch. There's always a Slate 4 series that stands out to me as like a really good series. Mm-hmm. But I think even the first one, Wildcats Gators, was kind of the same way because it was unexpected. But Slate 4, I don't know, it gets me fired up every year. Yeah. Because the postseason's right on the cusp here. Meaningful games. Slate 4 always is a treat to me.
Starts to matter more, baby.
Yeah. So appreciate you guys watching the videos and tuning into the pod every week. Keep those cues coming. I've gotten a couple good questions, Jack. I have recently. I'm forgetting them right now, but next week we'll rattle off a few cue of the days.
Yeah.
Near the end of the episode. So stay tuned for those guys. We'll have Frank on back, of course, and then probably the star of the series from the Mallards versus Eagles, which is TBD at this point. So hope you guys join us for that. Jack, we'll figure out our upload schedule or our recording schedule after this, I guess. But thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Jimmy Norp has now won 3 consecutive home run derbies, including MLW and others that he's participated in. We will see you all next Wednesday.